First up, let's just see it remember from spring break. Okay, this is a throwback to the last chapter. Okay, all right. See what we got. A vertex of your angle is inside the circle. I'll give you a 50-50. Am I going to add those green arcs or subtract them? Remember. Add them. Perfect. So I'm going to add, and it doesn't matter the order you write them down. I'm going to start with the 15x plus 5. And then you have to divide them by, I heard it, and that should equal your angle. So that's the equation we're going to solve. We know this makes 65. I'm going to combine that to 65 in a sec. Let's clear out the fraction. So I'm going to times each side by 2. So these 2's are gone. I've got my 15x, my 65, and then I'm going to distribute 2 through here. So 26x minus 12. Okay, take a second while I close the door. And you guys solve that. You get a nice small whole number answer.
X equals 7.
Perfect, Carter. All right, let's look at the second one. See how good the memory is? So I'm looking at these segments. Are they chords, secants, or tangents? Secants. So our calculation, remember, is the outside piece times the whole thing. So I'm going to start with this blue one. So the outside 7 times the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, 7 and 17, I'm going to combine it. Now, for the other secant, let's do that guy in red. Outside, of course, easy, 8. What's your expression for the whole thing? 8
Plus x.
plus x, or x plus 8, doesn't matter, however you want to write it. I heard 8 plus x first, so I'm going with that. Probably need your calculator for this. What's 7 times 24? I got to look at that wrong. Yeah, 168, you got it. 8 and 8, 8 and x. All right, you solve that, you get another nice small whole number.
13.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, so just to review, just, after spring break, it's easy to forget a few things. So like I said, what we're working on today and tomorrow with these circles, I almost always see a question of this style on the standardized test next week. So graphing circles, it's easy, but drawing the circles kind of tough, of course. And we're going to talk about the equations. Also easy, just something new you haven't seen yet. So first off, let's just fill in what you need on the notes. So x and y, any point on the circle, center at the origin, radius r. So by Pythagorean theorem, we'll talk about that. You got to fill in the red there. And you also have to fill in the word origin. So I feel like everything seems to always fall back to Pythagorean theorem. So if you look at your center here and your point, so they just made a right triangle out of it. And we know, of course, side squared equals hypotenuse, in our case, the radius, hypotenuse squared. So it's really just a play off Pythagorean theorem. I don't know how many things this year have contributed down to Pythagorean theorem. So here we go. Write the equation of the circle. So I just kind of put the little general formula up here. So the question we need is, what's the radius? That's what I'm after. So a couple ways to get the radius. So our center's here at the origin. Now, because of my drawing skills, I find the easiest way to look at the radius, and when I draw it also, I count, because radius, you have a lot of radii, the plural, in a circle. I look at the easy ones. I either look from the center to the top, or the center to the left edge, or the center to the bottom, or the center to the right edge. I just count one of those. They're all going to be congruent. If I count, I'm going to go center to the left. 3 units. So my radius is 3. So all you have to do for your equation, x squared, y squared, I'm going to do a little mental math, 3 squared, got it. That's what you're doing today. Now, if you wanted to get fancy, which this would cause you extra work, remember, from the center to any edge, it's the same. The problem is, I can't count this on the slant. I can't give you an exact answer. So that's why I always go straight up, straight down, straight right, or straight left. You can easily count those units. Okay, Obviously not everything is at the origin for a center, so notice, they threw in these crazy H and K's. And when you write your center, this is easy, but just notice details. Minus H in parentheses, positive H here. You have to switch the sign. So if you had plus 5, I put negative 5. So that's the big thing you have to remember as far as the signs go. They're always opposite. And you're still radius squared. Nothing exciting there. So fill in your center and your radius. And then let's get into some other circles. Okay, before we have to draw, we're going to draw at the bottom of the page. Let's just practice getting our center and radius. Use C for center. Now, switch the signs. So negative 5 we go to positive, negative 6 goes to positive. Now 49 is your radius squared. So what would just be the radius? 7. Either square root 49 or you just know 7 squared is 49. That's exciting. Okay, let's keep going. B. Again, switch the signs for the center. So negative 7, positive 9. That's the one big detail you got to be conscientious of today. What do you have for your radius this time?
9.
Got it. 9 squared is 81. Okay, easy enough. Center, we're going to switch our signs. Negative 2, negative 3. What's your radius on that one? 1. Square root of 1, 1. 1 squared 1. That would be a very tiny circle. I would like to draw that one. That'd be nice and easy. Okay, D. Center. Positive 6. What's the y coordinate?
Negative 1.
0. There's no number on there, so 0. Good. Now, you're probably going to need a calculator because we can't equal all perfect squares. So we're going to have to do the square root of 7, which is approximately,
46.
yeah. Got it. So if you had to draw that, of course it's not going to be super accurate. You're going to have to estimate 2.6 for your radius, just the very best that you can. All right, still writing some equations. Still easy. Write the equation with the center and the radius. Okay, easy enough. Center, 2, so switch your sign. And remember, this is a play off Pythagorean theorem. So I'm like, okay, got it squared, plus the y part squared. Switch your sign. Radius squared. Well, mental math at 4 squared. That's all you have to do. Again, positives and negatives are the key. Just be conscientious of the sign. It's easy. Okay, more of the same. Probably need a calculator though because I gave you a decimal. So center 2, negative 5. So switch your sign, negative 2, and then positive 5. You're going to need a calculator. What's 4.2 squared? I like it. All right, and final one of these. You try B. All right, you should have. Now, I was about to start writing x minus 0, but really, why bother? I would just put x squared. I mean, you could put x minus 0. It's not wrong, but x minus 0, 0. Okay. Y plus 7. And what's 10 squared?
100.
100. Any questions on those? This is a great lesson for a Monday after spring break. Nothing too crazy. So realistically, I really haven't done any work, but square some numbers and switch some signs. I think you can handle it. Okay, here we go. Now I got to draw. Okay, all right. So, as always, do you have to write this stuff down? No. But I'm going to jot down the center and radius just so they're in front of us. So center, of course, I'm going to switch our sign, positive 2, negative 3. And if we equal 36, what's the radius? 6. Okay, so to graph, super easy. Start by plotting the center. So just put a point at 2, negative 3. Now, just like, I'm going to click it back here to the very beginning, this guy. Easy to count the radius. It's hard to do it on the slant to count that out. So I'm just going to go from our center, up 6, down 6, right 6, left 6. And I'm going to pray that I can draw a nice circle around it. No promises. Okay, here we go. Up 6. 6, Then I'm gonna go right 6, down 6, and left 6. All right, and then we're gonna try to draw a circle around it. No promises. Well, could be better, could be worse. That's how we're gonna look at that. Hopefully your artistic skills are better. Okay, now do I care if you write down the actual center and radius? No, I don't. You can just draw it, obviously. I just listed them over there so you know how to count it out. So any questions on drawing of a circle? I don't need to do any more than that. Okay, cruising on. Write the standard equation of the circle. Now, same info we always need. Center and the radius. Well, you could look at the picture, and what's the center? What's the dot in the middle? Yeah. So I'm just going to jot that down. Now, I see they gave us this other point here. I mean, I could connect them. Pretend I do that straight. And do distance formula for the radius, but I don't think anybody wants to do distance formula on a Monday. I'm going to do just like how I did this guy. I'm going to count from the center to the top, or the center to the bottom, or the center to the right, or the center to the left. I'm just going to count. I'm going to do center to the top. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it. And now you have everything, you can just fill out your equation. So again, -1, we're going to flip it to a +1. Y minus 3. And 5 squared, we all know, 25. So try to avoid distance formula. Who wants to do that? So any questions on that guy? All right, last we have a little more algebra, I should say, in these guys. So the point, the circle, okay, center 1, 4. I like they gave us a center, write the equation. So of course, let's start with this. Let's just get it set up with our center. So I know I'm going to have x minus 1. I'm going to switch the sign. Y minus 4. And I have no clue anything about the radius yet. So I just left the r squared. Now, we have some choices, okay? I'm going to flip it back to this picture. So we kind of have this situation, this red one here, where you have the center and a point. I could do distance formula to get the radius. I'm not really loving that. I think we can do it in less work. So, always work smarter, not harder, right? So they give you this point. So I know it's x comma y for the ordered pair. So all I'm going to do, I'm like, okay, all right. So if I put -1 in here for x, and then I'm going to put the 2 in for the y. Oh, I'm liking that, because the only variable I have now in this equation is the r squared, which is what I need. So I'm just going to do a little mental math here. -1 minus 1, -2, I'm going to square it. 2 minus 4, squared. And let's add those up. And then really, power of the smartboard, I'm going to make my life easy. For my standard form of the equation, we of course equal our radius squared. So I'm just going to throw the 8 in here and circle it. So that, to me, is a whole lot easier than doing distance formula between the points for the radius. If you have an overwhelming love of distance formula, I mean, be my guest, but too much time. Okay, last one of the day. Write an equation for the circle, endpoints, interesting, of the diameter. So remember, we'll review since it's been a spring break. Your diameter goes through the center of the circle. So they gave you the endpoints. We need the center. The center is the point in the middle. Can you think of a formula to help us find the point in the middle? Point, middle. Midpoint, I heard it, midpoint formula. We're going to do midpoint formula for the center. Now, midpoint formula, it's in the middle, so it's like averaging. We're going to average up the x coordinates, average the y's. So my x is -5 and 3. I'm going to add those, which I know you could do that in your head, and divide by 2. Then I'm going to do the same for the y's. I'm going to add the y coordinates, divide by 2. Okay, so let's calculate it out. I'm gonna have negative 2 over 2. I'm gonna have 2 over 2. So this is like the worst it gets today, because you're gonna have to do midpoint formula to get the center. Big deal. Now, again, just kind of like the last problem here, too far. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna plug my center in and take a look and see where we're at. So I can do x plus 1, switch my sign, y minus 1, and we have not tackled or know anything about the radius squared yet. Now, you do have a choice. You got your center here. You could do distance formula between the center and an endpoint. Nobody wants that. I'm gonna, like the last problem, just plug in the point. Now, you've got a choice though. You can pick either point, you'll get the same final answer. I'm gonna pick this guy just because it's a little smaller numbers, okay? So I'm gonna put 3 in here for x. I'm gonna put negative 2 in for the y. And then the only variable I have left to solve for, r squared, which is what I need. Okay, math it out. 3 plus 1, 4, 4 squared. Negative 2 minus 1, negative 3 squared. And I'm going to add 16 and 9. And again, make your life easy. Power of the smartboard. Just going to erase this and put it equals 25 now and circle it. So these last couple are the most amount of work you're going to have. And of course, those are like the end ones on your worksheet today. You're going to have to do midpoint to get the center and plug a point in for x and y to help you get r squared. That's as bad as it gets today. Well, I guess it depends how good your drawing skills are, right? Okay, let me